Hey guys, sorry, I like ran up here and like, I literally just got home, ran to go pee, and then put on sweatpants. I'm so out of breath. So hold on, I haven't even like turned on all of the lights yet. Okay, there's that one. That's not even the color I left off at, but whatever. Oh, maybe it was the color I left off at. Okay. Hey guys. Hey guys, what's up? Sorry, I'm like out of breath because I like ran over here. Okay, so dang, look at all you guys. There's like 11 viewers. This is what happens when I'm like 5 minutes late. Okay, so here we go. Which Fear Street is the best? Wandering Native said third one is my favorite by far. Katie said same, the third is my fave. Oh crap, you told me how to pronounce that too and I can't remember. Shania? Yeah, right, because I think it was, you said maybe like Shania Twain or something. I've been debating watching them. U-W-T-A-H-U. I don't know how to pronounce your name. Sorry. Shania Jones, watch them. It's Her Natural World. The second was my favorite. Bella says hi. Second, Lena Ja Madison. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it. I'm so sorry. Second one is my favorite, and third one is a close second. Probably someone else said Thursday. You see what's like, I'm like running around. Third one is my favorite. Are you ever going to post your reactions on YouTube of Fear Street? I'll get to that in just a second, I promise. It's Her Natural World 1, probably, and then 2 is what you're trying to say? Jackie Daniels, aka Gothic Love Story, says, I'll only be surprised if you say second. Bella says, hi. Hello, Bella. It's Her Natural World 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 1. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Best to worst is 3, 1, 2. Strange Shadow says, hi, amazing set of movies. Is it Chris? K-R-Y-S. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that, right, Chris? 3 and 1. Armani says 3. 1994 is the most rewatchable, in my honest opinion. Took me a second to get that because I'm like, I'm a hoe, what? But then I'm like, no, wait, that's not what that is. Takes me a second to get acronyms, okay? I'm not that hip. I'm an old soul. P Money says third was my favorite. Bella says, can you please react to Never Have I Ever? I'll get to some more reactions here in a second. Strange Shadow says 1666 should have been 2 movies. I could see that. I could see 1666 being 2 movies. I could see that. Definitely, for sure. Lenija, okay, thank you for pronouncing that. Is probably a better way to pronounce it. Okay. Jackie Daniels says 1666 is the best, but makes me cry too much to watch a lot. So 1994 is close first. That's my comfort watch. P Money says that, Bella. I like that series. So, okay. I had to just kind of like go through all those. Before I kind of got into, because you guys, if any of you guys know me, I have to, I get lost on tangents sometimes, so I just kind of wanted to get all those out before I kind of let you guys know my opinion on stuff. So I know a lot, so I did a poll, and you guys basically said that the third one was the best, and then the first one, and then the third one. Let me look at it. Hold on. So I'm going to my community tab. Hold on. I'll look at the final results from like right now. Okay, so 69% said 1666, 17% said 1994, 14% said 1978. And there was 568 votes. I want to say that that was probably the most, what's it called? Active? Not active. That's not the word I'm thinking of. I don't know what the word I'm thinking of right now is. So it's, you know what I'm trying to say. So that post was just crazy. And I like doing polls because, like, I like to see other people's opinions on, like, comparisons, especially, like, percentages and stuff like that. So, 1666 got, like, and I felt like that was probably going to end up winning. So I agree with what, Strange Shadow said when they said that it should have been 2 movies. Because I agree. I think that 1666 in that year with Sarah could have been a whole movie by itself. And then if they wanted to have another movie and put it as, what's her name? Not Sam. Have it as, what's her name? Have it be... Crap, what is her name? I haven't seen it in a hot second. Have it be where... Come on, help me out. What's her name? It's something. Fear Street, hold on. Let me see if I can beat you guys to it. Dina. So, the second part of 1666 could have been where Dina, like, transitioned from having, getting out of the memories of Sarah. So I do agree with that. I do think that they could have made that. I think they could have made it even either a longer movie or they could have split it up into 2 movies. So, is that what her name is? And no, it's Dina. But yeah, so I feel like that one was pretty good. What do you guys think is, and I'll give you a few minutes because this is a little delayed actually of when I'm asking you this and then when I end up looking at the comments. What do you guys think is my favorite movie out of all 3 of them? And I'll give you a few minutes while I'm, like, making sure that I'm answering all of your questions. I'm gonna finish. You guys were trying to help me out, but because of the delay, like, I ended up fixing it. But there's like a 30-second delay or something crazy like that. Like, there's a pretty significant delay. That's one of the only things I don't really like about YouTube, going live on YouTube, is there is quite a bit of a delay. My hair is all crazy today too, and it's probably because I, like, basically ran in here. My hair is all nutso. I'm sorry about that. Fear Street 1994, the final chapter as the 4th movie would have been amazing. I feel like the second one, part 1, part 2. So I'll give you a little bit longer and just make sure I answer all of these questions, because there was something else I wanted to talk about that somebody said. So I'm not going to post the reactions on YouTube of Fear Street soon, because that would require a lot of time of editing, and I am planning on doing other shows here soon. I just got finished recording this morning Motherland Fort Salem. So Motherland Fort Salem will go up tomorrow. The second Gossip Girl will go up on Friday, and then the third one, yeah, I'm thinking, sorry. The third one will go up on Saturday, and then a new season, I think, starts on Sunday or Monday. Depends on what I'm going to try to do. So my life is just all kind of sorts of crazy right now, if you can't tell. It is all crazy. I literally ran in here. I was still 5 minutes late, or 3 minutes late, 3 or 5 minutes late, something like that, because my brother's in town. So we just got back from my parents, and we pulled into the driveway at like 8 o'clock. And I'm like, I need to put on sweatpants and I need to pee really bad, and then I'll stream. So I peed, threw on sweatpants, and then I like ran in here, turned on all the lights like while I was already streaming. So so that's another reason why it was like an hour late too, because normally I stream at like 7, and but I knew my brother was in town. So by the way, love your hair. Oh, thank you. I don't like it this short. I kind of regret cutting it this short. My hair's always been really long. If you watch any of my older stuff from like, I think I got my hair cut back in April or May, something like that. And so I can't believe it was that long ago. It had to have been May, because I had just started my job, and then it was like a week or two later, and then I got my hair cut. So it had to be May. So I had this haircut for like 2 months, but I hate it. So I do appreciate the comments. I do miss my long hair. I don't fully regret it, because I've always wanted to know what my hair was going to look like cut. But it does look kind of crazy right now, though, I will admit. So tomorrow it won't look as bad, but because I'm washing it tomorrow. But anyway, you guys know, if you watch any of my older stuff, like that's how long my hair was like down here. I got like 8 inches or something crazy like that cut off. So I miss it. I miss it so terribly. The fact that you said we'd be surprised, I want to guess 1978, because it was the straightest. Part 2? Question mark. If it is part 2, I don't know if I can look at you the same. It's 2 a.m. in Germany, probably someone else. Oh, well, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. What country and state do you live in? Because in Cali, it's 5:15. I live in Florida. So I live in the U.S. and I live in Florida. But, okay. Hold on. I think there was one more question, and then I promise I will tell you what my favorite one was and why. So hold on just a second. I know I answered the question as to the reactions on YouTube. And not right now, just because it takes a whole lot of time, and I don't have a whole lot of time right now. Movies are just a lot. And it's constantly having to change and edit them and like all that. So there was one other thing. Someone said that they wanted me to do a reaction on something. Never Have I Ever. I've gotten Never Have I Ever a lot, and I've gotten Young Royals a lot, which I could do both of them. They could be both on my list of things to do soon, but I know one thing that I'm gonna do really, really soon is I wanted to do Young Royals. So Young Royals is probably going to come out after, that's probably going to be like Sunday or Monday, something like that, is Young Royals. Or if you guys end up saying something enough to where, like, if you debate the Never Have I Ever enough, then I might switch it and do them opposite. Either way, I'll do both of them. Never Have I Ever, please. Get it. I'm still like, this is how much I'm like out of breath. I'm still, because I think I'm just trying to make sure. I get overwhelmed pretty easily, but like I work really well by being overwhelmed. I just can't catch up with my breath sometimes. So it's not because I'm out of shape, but a little bit. I started watching you at the time when you were reacting to Julie and the Phantoms. I really wish they would do a season 2, but they haven't confirmed anything for a season 2. They haven't canceled it, but they haven't renewed it either. So, and my makeup's all crazy right now. Like, it's the end of the day. My makeup's almost like gone. So this is pretty much what I look like, almost with no makeup. You can tell because like my eyeliner is almost gone. My eyebrows are barely there. All I wear pretty much are like, I do a light foundation, my eyebrows are microbladed, so I like shade them in a little bit, and then eyeliner and mascara. And that's it. I really don't wear that much makeup. So, but anyway, this is at like the end of the day. I did this morning Motherland Fort Salem, so if you could tell what I did this morning compared to now, like that's what happens. Beginning of the day to end of the day. You should react to American Horror Story, and if you already watched it, you should react to American Horror Stories. I watched the first seasons of American Horror Story, and then I stopped watching after that. I just kind of got bored with it, but we just talked about that at my parents' house, actually, because Anna said you need to react to it, and then my mom said that too. So, but yeah, anyway, it's a spinoff. Okay, so I think I answered pretty much all the questions we had talked about. That the majority of what you guys think is that the third one is the best one. So I'll tell you which one I think is the best one. And I haven't actually said this one yet, as in, like I haven't given my opinion yet. So you guys are like hearing it first, and I don't know if I'll probably like ever make a post out of it or anything. But I do feel like the best one, in my opinion, was part one. Part one, because part one had the most like range of things in it. And I try not to think of it as, like I try to judge all of them equally as like if they were, because a lot of times if you watch a movie series, the first one is bound to be better than most of them, with the exceptions, of course. Like I know that The Godfather, which I've never seen any of them, but I know that majority, they say that the second one's the best one. But majority of the time, I know that the first one is gonna end up being the best one. And so I try to judge them based off of if they were all, like, if they all came out first. Which one would I still choose? And I say the first one because it just had so much stuff in it. It had the little bit of horror and the little bit of scary, the little bit of like romantic with like the perfect amount of LGBT. What else? I mean, there was so much in it, and it's so rewatchable. I would totally, after I watched the first one, I immediately wanted to watch the second one. Like immediately. I did end up, like I ate lunch, or I took like an hour break and then I watched the second one. So like I ate lunch and then I got ready to watch the second one. But I could totally rewatch the first one over and over and over and over again. And that takes a lot for me to say. Because I like rewatching movies, but only if they're that good enough for me to honestly want to rewatch. So I don't think you guys were that like off of what you guys thought. I think you guys thought that like if it was the second one, then you would be completely shocked. But I didn't say the third one because the third one a little bit kind of just drug on. And I called some point. If you guys watched my reaction, I called out some things like right in the beginning. And that's why I think, because I wasn't shocked whenever these like big reveals or whatever, and I won't go into it, but like, cause I don't want to give spoilers away, but like the things that gave it away in the third one, I found out theoretically, I technically made the connections in part one, but I didn't know I made the connections in part one till I was at the beginning of part three. And then I'm like, no, yes, no, yes. And then I'm like, I think a lot of people had that reaction in the third one though, which made the third one so good. All of them are amazing, but my order of which they were the best was 1, 3, 2. And 1 is because I had not seen anything like this. I don't think ever. There's been some movies where I'm like completely shocked and it's like amazing And I'm like, how do they put so much stuff in a movie and still make it good without being too overwhelming or like horrible or like, you know, any of that. So I just think it had the perfect amount of stuff in there that I love. It had the action in there. Like, it had everything that I loved in there. The third one, the story kind of like drug on a little bit. So that's how come the only reason why the third one is second best for me, is because it just kind of drug on. The first one, I swear it was like 10 minutes had went by and then I was watching the rolling credits and I'm like, is it seriously done? I didn't realize I was recording for like that almost 2 hours. And a lot of times when I'm recording stuff, I take a look at the time code for when I'm recording, to see how long I'm going for, to see how much time is left, or like, you know, whatever. I'm pretty good about like judging how much time has passed or like any of that stuff. But when I watched the first one, had no idea. I didn't look at that time code until like the rolling credits had went up. And then I'm like, holy shit, I can't believe I was actually watching this like in that type of zone for that long. And I have severe ADD. So for me to keep attention on the movie for as long as I did and not get really distracted and end up looking at the time code to judge how much time was going to be left. Like there's so much to part one that just made me like, and it wasn't just like the LGBT thing either. Like I took into effect everything. The second one was amazing too, don't get me wrong. And I think the second one was the biggest shocker, not maybe the biggest shocker, but like there was a pretty big shock in it because I felt like this whole time I was thinking one thing. And whenever the end of the movie had happened, I'm like, oh my God, I was so wrong. I was like, that is not who that was, like that whole time. And so I liked having that feeling with the second one. So I had different feelings with each of those movies. But I think the one that I could rewatch, the one that I had the most attention like drawn into, the one that had the most action, and I don't know if it had the best romantic scenes because... Maybe. I think it did because like a collection of romantic scenes, because Sam and Dina in the first one had, I think the most romantic scenes, and then the third one and then the second one, because the second one didn't have like jack shit in it, as in romantic scenes for Dina and Sam, or as in like LGBT in general. There was a scene in the first one, and if you guys have watched it, Sam and Dina were in a science lab or something. Like, I don't think they were in a closet, because I want to say it was just dark, and it was like they were in a classroom or something. I don't think they were in a bathroom. Were they in the bathroom at that time? No, because that was after the bathroom scene. But like that scene, but then there was a couple of other scenes as well that were kind of romantic and super emotional. Like, not just romantic, but emotional. And then the third one was, like, it had just slight romantic scenes in there. And then it had one big romantic scene in there, if you know what I mean. But then that was it. Like, although they teased me pretty hardcore in the first movie. Because I'm like, oh, that's all we get. They got interrupted. I was like, oh my God. Like, yeah, of course, during the gay scenes, like, they always get interrupted. Of course they did. But I don't know, like, it was just so good. It was so good. So I still think I knew that 1666 was going to be the majority of the favorite. I just can't believe how much of a majority it was. I thought it was going to be a close second, but it was not. So that's why I said you guys might be shocked by, like, what the outcome is. Can you guys even see that? No, maybe not. The bottom one right here is like 6 69, 69%. And then Fear Street 1 is 17%. And then that bottom one, or the middle one, which is part 2, is the 14%. And I thought, like I said, I thought it was a close second, but it was not a close second at all. And so that's why I said you guys might be shocked by like which one was my favorite one. Because even when I streamed last week and you guys were telling me to watch it, you guys were telling me that the third one was the best one. Or that you guys thought that the third one was going to be the best one, because I don't think technically it came out at that time. But, oh my god, of course. So my wife just jumped in. Honey, I am tipsy. Hey, everybody. That's my wife, by the way. If you ever see a chat from like Anna Holt, that's my wife. But anyway. So, okay, honey, I love you. But then I love the movie so much. 3 is the best. Yeah, I know. Everyone thinks that 3 is the best, but I think a little bit differently. I think that the first one is the best, but yeah, they're all so amazing in their own ways. They're all so amazing. If they all separately came out and were not connected to each other, they could probably all stand by themselves. The only one that might not be able to do that is the third one. And I mean that because in the end, at the end of that movie, or the second half of the movie, it just makes us transition back from Sarah to Dina. And then it's Dina trying to, like, save everyone and, like, protect everyone. And, like, Sam and, like, everyone. So that's the only reason why maybe the third one couldn't stand by itself, because then you don't really know the second half, and it's hard to be able to, it would probably be hard to be able to understand what's kind of going on there. But, yeah. I feel like the third was just super poetic with the moss and voiceovers from Sarah. Like, that shit was super powerful, and that's what kind of made me pick 3, to be honest. Oh, there was so many things about the third one that was just amazing. So, you're right, and excuse me, by the way, but you're right. The transition whenever Dina would say something like the truth will haunt you. What did she say? It was something about the truth will haunt you, but I don't think that's the exact words that she said. Something about the truth will follow you, or the truth will haunt you, or the truth will something. Like, she kept saying those words, and the scene where Dina switched over to Sarah and, like, back and forth, that was pretty crazy. And then the moss, so the moss really started in part 2. So that you saw the moss in part 2, and then it carried over to part 3. So that's how come part 3, and I'm sorry, in my opinion, part 3 cannot stand on its own. So without part 1 and part 2, part 3 just won't quite make sense. But there was, how each movie was made was amazing, but how part 3 was made was phenomenal. And I don't know why they did it necessarily like that. I don't know if there's like a bigger reason to why, like, they made part 3, like, the filmography and the editing and even the music, the narration, everything was just on point, the best it could possibly be. And that's why I completely understand why the third one was the best one for the majority of people. The only thing was with the third one that I couldn't really get with for being my favorite was the fact that it drug on. there was so many things with Sarah's story, and I get that I had to do that, and I understand that. So, like with Sarah's story, you had to know, like, each character and who they represented and what they were about, and whether they were good or evil, or their whole backstory, and Sarah's whole backstory, and like how everybody was together, and those connections, and like, so it there was a reason why it had to drag on, but that's why it was my second favorite and not my first favorite. I could maybe rewatch 1666, but I'm gonna rewatch 1994 more so than I would rewatch 1666, and that is all based off of my opinion. So anytime that I say anything, by the way, because some people don't like, some people are not going to agree with me, okay? And apparently the majority did not agree with me on this whole situation. But if you disagree with me, I love it. And I just want to know your reason to why you disagree with me. But some people get so offended when I say something, and I'm like, again, it's my opinion. And I have to say that. And I'm not saying that to offend anyone. I'm not saying all of this stuff to think like it's my way or the highway. I'm not really that type of person. But it is my opinion. My opinion is 1, 3, 2. Even 2 was really good. 2 was amazing. It's really hard. It's really hard to judge which one was the best one over all of them, and that's why a lot of you say just all of them, because all of them are amazing and all of them are so hard to compare to each other. But if I did have to compare them all to each other, that's what the order I would put them in, from greatest to least, or greatest to not greatest, or whatever you want to call it. 1, 3, 2. But did you react to them? I missed something else. Did you react to them? Yes, I did. I reacted to them, but it's on Patreon only, for the tier of Dragon and up, because I don't have time to edit them right now. Movies are a lot to edit. Shows, I can get them done depending on how long. Like Atypical, it takes me 10 minutes to edit an episode. A longer episode like Gossip Girl takes me like 30 to 45 minutes, something like that, depending on like how much I'm talking and like how much I'm reacting to. 35 to 45 minutes, but movies would take me an hour and a half longer to edit. So that's how come if I worked from home, if this was my only job, I would, but it's not right now. Hopefully, eventually, but not right now. But have you seen Outer Banks? No, I've seen it come across. Is it Netflix? I think I've seen it come across Netflix or something, some streaming service, but I haven't seen it yet. Favorite killer? Ooh, I have not thought of my favorite killer. I'm trying to think, who is the... Number 2 is the axe killer. Probably not number 2. There's a lot of killers, though. There's a lot of killers. Like, if we set aside the master killer, right? If we set aside the master killer and we think about all of this, like the other killers, like the master killer made these people turn into killers. Maybe the axe killer? It might be the axe killer if I'm not thinking of the master killer. But the master killer is like, I don't know what to say without giving anything away. Like, it's just kind of lame. The Master Killer is kind of lame because he just has other people do shit for him. There is the child one. There's the priest. There's the one that the girl that slit her wrist. There's Axe Killer, and then there's of course the Skull Mask Killer. I don't know. The one that really kind of fucked me up, honestly, the one that kind of fucked me up was the priest because he killed like all of those kids. I'm not really giving a spoiler alert away, maybe a smidge, but not really, because they say the priest killed a bunch of kids. He was just the biggest shocker, but I don't think he was the biggest, like, I don't know if he's my favorite killer. My favorite killer might be the Axe Killer. I don't know. I'd really have to think about that some more. I haven't really thought of that one, so that's a good question. Anyway, I'm currently watching 1994, and already I could see myself watching over and over again. That's what a lot of people say. They say that the third one is the best one, but that they could also rewatch the first one. I can't decide whether one or three is my favorite. I understand your dilemma, trust me. And the only thing that I couldn't get past is number 3 kind of drug on. That's the only negative that, compared to the both of them, that I saw was what made me think the first one was the best one. Are they eventually going to be on YouTube? Maybe if I have time, but I already know I have a couple of things on my list right now of things that would just be more worth my time. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't have a lot of time in general. I have a full-time job, and then of course, like, I'm married, and so Anna and I, like, our marriage means a lot to me, and we don't do a lot of stuff, like we don't go on, like, a whole lot of dates, but, like, when we do stuff, that means a lot to me, so I like to take time for her and I, and then, my brother is in town right now, so that's how come this stream was an hour later than usual, because my brother just got in town today, and then, so not only, like, professional stuff and then personal stuff, and then also, like, Evil QK. So I have, like, all of these things that I have to try to figure out how to juggle, and it's a lot. I tried to do even a second channel for the movie channel, and I have, like, one video out there right now, and I know I want to do more and more. I have so many ideas that I want to do. Like, you guys don't even know, but I don't have time. I just mentally, I have to make sure that I'm okay. Because I don't want to overwhelm myself, and I have been getting a smidge overwhelmed here lately, but it's just because I'm still technically in training at my new job, and I'm almost done with that. And then Anna and I are wanting to do, like, some other stuff coming up soon that are really big in our personal lives, and then around the October time, we have a ton of stuff that's happening in October time, actually. So I have a lot of stuff going on in October. So maybe after October is, like, really when we'll be able to kind of do some more stuff, when I have time to do some more stuff. But I don't know. Movies are just a lot. So that's the only reason. I wouldn't say the movies aren't ever going to be on YouTube, but I don't know when. They're not really on my near future agenda right now. But I liked Ruby a lot because of her singing. That shit was so creepy. It was creepy, but then also a kid killer is always super creepy to me. So, like, the little guy with, like, the mask. And they didn't even talk about him that much. I feel like theoretically he could have a whole movie on his own too. They didn't talk a whole lot about him, and he was kind of creepy. Who else? I mean, they were all creepy in their own kind of way, but, like, the most shocking one was not the master killer, because I kind of had that. Like I said, I figured that out on the first movie. And then, but the most shocking was the priest. And even though you know what he did, like, you see that in the third movie, and it just kind of messes you up a little bit. So that one's kind of, it just kind of messes you up, the priest killer. The kid killer, you don't know enough of his background. I feel like my favorite killer could potentially be the little boy killer. I keep calling him the kid killer, and I'm like, he's just a kid. That's a killer. That's what I mean. And then the priest is a kid killer, but he kills kids. So, like, vice versa. Potentially, I feel like if we knew more of the backstory of the little boy killer, he might be able to be my favorite, because he's got, like, the bat and everything, too. And then you got Skull Mask, and you got the Axe Killer. And the Axe Killer, I say, might be my favorite, because that's the killer that you honestly, he has a whole fucking movie. The main killer has all of the movies, right? He has part 1, part 2, part 3. All of the fucking movies, right? Mainly 1 and 3. But part 2 is the Axe Killer. Part 1 is the Skull Killer. But also it's a combination of all of them. And the main killer. So really the only killer that's had a whole movie by himself is the Axe Killer. And I think that's why I'm kind of choosing the Axe Killer, because he had a whole movie dedicated to him. And that's why I'm choosing him. I think if I knew more about the other ones, then maybe. The priest one just messed me up. That priest one just messed me up, man. I don't typically like stuff that kind of messes me up, and I didn't like it. If you saw my reaction, I was just like, okay, that one kind of messed me up a little bit, but it just, I don't know. I think, so that one's never going to be my favorite, because that one just messed me up. And then the little boy killer could be potentially my favorite one if I knew more of a backstory. The Axe Killer, yes. The Skull Mask Killer, you reminded me of Scream. I'm like, I think that's why he's not going to be my favorite, because I'm like, they just kind of took this from Scream, or Scream took it from them. I don't know which one came first technically, but they looked exactly alike with the black robe and like the mask and like all that. So that's the only one where I don't think he could be my favorite, because I've seen it. You've seen it before. And anyway, so, oh goodness, sorry. Ruby was cool though. Ruby was cool, but I feel like you almost feel bad for Ruby, because you feel bad for all of them, but like you feel bad for Ruby because she has a little bit more of involvement. Even though she didn't have her own movie, she had another character that was kind of there. And then, like, the little bit that you do know of her backstory, it's like, aw. And so she's not quite my favorite one, just because when I pick a favorite killer, then I'm like, which one is, like, just badass and, like, you know, whatever. But, so, Axe Killer, and then if I knew more about the little boy killer, then that one. But, and how slow she walked. Yeah, that too. She sang. What made her badass was that she sang, and you knew, like, it kind of like freaked you out, and you're like, oh shit. So yeah, and then her slow walk. Yeah. That scene, man, nothing prepared me for that church scene. I know, that's the scene I'm talking about. That's the scene that really fucked me up. And you know it before you even get to that scene, because they're like sitting outside the church, and like, you just know. I know what I'm saying before I give the spoiler, so I'm not going to give a spoiler, but like, you just know. And it messes you up. Or it messed me up. And I just like, I'm like, ugh. Even when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, But the one with the bat, so scary. Oh yeah, the little boy with the bat, like, freaky. And then he's got a mask. Like, they all have masks except for Ruby. right? Because Skull Mask, duh, it's in his name. Axe Killer has a mask. It's that burlap sack. And then the little boy. No, the priest doesn't have a mask. The priest doesn't have a mask, technically. So the only two that don't have a mask is Priest and Ruby Lane. But I think depending on, like... Sorry. I'm tired. Depending on what kind of killer you are, and what kind of mask that you have makes you... It could make you scarier having a mask, or it can make you scarier not having a mask. It depends on what your face looks like, right? So the little boy killer is scary as fuck. But I imagine if I did not see him with the mask on, he wouldn't be scary as fuck. Unless his face looked fucked up or something. But the Axe Killer without a mask, he's fine. He looks like your average dude. So no, he would not be as scary. But with the burlap sack over his face, yeah, he looks scary as fuck. Same with the Skull Mask guy. Like, he just looks like a normal dude underneath. Like, his face is not really fucked up. You know, I hate to say that, but like, the priest, he doesn't have a mask on. His face kind of looks like, like, it's kind of creepy. If he had a mask, depending on what kind of mask he had on, could potentially look more scary as fuck. But, you know, just depends on the characters and the killers. I love how they put so much detail in, like, everything into not just their appearances, but their backgrounds and what kind of killer they were going to be and stuff, you know, but... I wanted them to bring back the priest and you just hear that metal clinging before he chases them. I would have died. If they would have shown a scene where the priest actually did the things that he did, I would have been even more fucked up. I would be... I don't know how I would react. I honestly, because like even thinking about it makes me a little bit emotional. Like it just kind of made me a little bit teary-eyed because like I know, like, you know what he did to those kids. And so if he did that, like if you saw him actually doing that, it could mess you up. But it makes for a great movie. And I say that because any sort of emotion, no matter what it is, whether it makes you happy or sad or like messed up or like, you know, whatever, it makes for a good movie because hello, I mean, the world's not perfect. The world is fucked up sometimes. The world is excellent sometimes, you know, and so, but you have to have that combination of stuff. And that's why some scary movies are great and some scary movies are like, because if they actually took it and made it, and I'm glad it was rated R. If they would have made it PG or PG-13 or something like that, it would have been weird. But scary movies like that, if you're gonna be a scary movie, horror movie, whatever it is, you know, I'm so glad that they took it to the lengths that they did. It would have just been weird if it was rated something else. But I don't think the Milkman has a mask either. Ooh, I didn't even think about that. The Milkman, you're right, he doesn't have a mask because half of his face is like fucked up. But if he had a mask on, wouldn't be as scary because guess what? His face is kind of fucked up. So he's scary. And the Milkman, he's freaky looking, right? So that's the whole point of the Milkman. He's scary. If he would have had a mask on, less scary. Yeah, in 1994 in the news, right up, it says the baby killer had a deformed face. But what kind of deformed face, though? Is it a deformed face that's scary, or is it a deformed face that's like, oh, I'm so sorry that you have a deformed face? You know? Like, American Horror Stories, like, some of the stuff that I've seen from American Horror Stories, it's like you're sad that they have a deformed face. Or, also like American Horror Story, you're freaked the fuck out because they have a deformed face. You know? Like, it just depends on what their deformed face looks like. Give me a comparison and then I'll tell you which one's scarier. Milkman. I could just about tell you if he had any kind of mask on, his real face would have been 10 times scarier than any mask that you could put on his face. The Axeman, Axe Murderer, whatever you want to call him. The Axe Camp Murderer, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, right? he's gonna be scarier with the burlap sack on his face because he looks like an average dude. He looks like your average guy. And then same with Skull Mask. Skull Mask looks like your average. Skull Mask isn't even really scary to me because I think, and that's why he's definitely not my favorite, because he's not scary. He looks like Scream. He looks like the killer from the movie Scream. And that's how come I wasn't scared. Yeah, he's got a knife and you don't want to be stabbed and killed. Like, yeah, but also if you're going to put Skull Mask up to Axeman or Skullman with Milkman or Skull Mask with any of them, I'm going to be scared of the other person versus like Skull Mask, you know? But I don't know. Anyway, so I'm still sad that Kate died. Who is Kate? I don't remember. Oh, from the first movie. Yes, I do. I do remember. That's what, oh my God. Like the whole first movie. I did not think, without me giving away spoilers, I don't know about you guys, because I'm reading your comments. So any spoilers that I get from reading comments, that's not me. The ending of part 1, never would have thought that would have happened. And I think I had the most reaction to part 1 than any of the movies because I was like, the fuck happened? I did not think that was going to happen. But yeah, so I had the, like, what the fuck reaction to part 1. Like, I did not think that was going to happen. But great death, though. They really took her out with the bread slicer. Oh, yeah. They sure did. Sure did. I thought someone was going to stop them, too, in that scene. Nope. Honestly, I get how you have a lot on your plate right now and how overwhelming it can be. But I just want to say how great of a YouTuber you are. You have 2 channels consistent with doing lives and listening to your subscribers, and we really appreciate that. Well, thank you very much. So I don't consistently post on the movie channel, so I can't say that I consistently post up there because there's only been 1 video up there so far. But Evil QK, I didn't want the movie channel to take over Evil QK in any sort of way, because this one will always be the main channel and I love it. So I'm always going to try to put out as much consistent content as I can on this channel, no matter what. Even if I take like a little bit of a break here or there, like I'm always going to try to like push out content. But I love, and I don't mean to sound super cheesy when I say this, but I love knowing if you guys disagree with me, why do you disagree with me? Because I want to learn more things. I don't know, because I'll rewatch a movie 20, 30 times, and I honestly will. Some of my favorite movies, I do that to try to see if I can still catch things that I didn't know, whether they're mistakes or like, or good things, or like whatever pieces of the story that I didn't know from the first 19 times that I had seen them. But also, like, if I watch that 20 to 30 times, I'm still going to watch it from my point of view versus if you guys tell me what you guys thought of it. And then I think that's why I started reacting to stuff, and then also trying to at least go live once a week. When I first started, it was like 4 times a week, and then 2, and then, well, 4, 3, and then 2, and then 1. But, and I don't ever want to stop going live, because here is where we can actually talk about it and like talk about doing like talking about all of our opinions. I hope that you guys you feel okay that you can talk about your opinions with me. If you don't, then that's fine. You know, just maybe get to know me, and then I'll try to get to know you and like stuff like that. But, I love to know your guys' opinions, because there's so many things that you guys catch that I don't. And I'm like, oh my God, I love being able to see a whole different perspective of like any sort of show or movie. And it's just an amazing feeling getting to, at least for me, getting to that point of, I know all of the stuff that I can see, but if I get it from a different point of view, I learn even more. And so that's what I love about that. And I was like this even when I was a kid, but like my sister, I love my sister, but anytime my sister and I went to go see a movie in a movie theater or something, even though it was a movie that we both went to see, we both wanted to see, I wanted to talk about it after we got out of the movie theater, and I'm like, oh my God, do you remember this scene and like what had happened in the scene? And she didn't want to talk about it. And she's like, why do you want to talk about it? We literally just watched it. And so I get her point. I get her point to why she didn't want to watch it or talk about it because we had just watched it. But I'm like, but we have to talk about it. It was so awesome, or it was so shit. Like, the movie was so horrible, but I wanted to talk about my opinions and why it was so horrible. And like, you know, I always wanted to do that, and I didn't really discover that I really wanted to do that even more until recently, within this past year, because it'll almost be about a year that I've been on YouTube. So, and originally that wasn't what my YouTube channel was going to be. I had this whole completely different thing planned out that I wanted the YouTube channel to be, but I ended up just finding my passion just randomly while I was testing out different types of content that I wanted to do. And I know that, and I said this in the last stream, if you guys like to watch different reactors, and my downfall with being a reactor, and I know this is a downfall, not just in my and being a reactor, but also in my life in general, professionally, personally, whatever. I'm not a very emotional person, so I know it's a little bit of a downfall being a reactor and not quite being as emotional as other reactors are. Like, I know Adam is so emotional, and like, no, I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a really good way. I know that he cheers and he cries and he screams and he like does all this crazy stuff, and I'm not ever gonna be like that. I'm getting better and better and better about being able to express my emotion and being able to like express my, like, I've always been okay with expressing like my opinions, but it's hard for me to express my emotions, but I've always been like that. Even when I was a kid, my mom used to get upset because I wasn't super happy on Christmas. Like, all the like most kids are like, oh my God, it's Christmas, let's open presents, yeah. And I would be like, why did you wake me up? It's 9 o'clock in the morning, I want to sleep. Like, I would get upset. And then, of course, it would make my mom upset because then, you know, like, I wasn't super happy on Christmas. Like, I'm not an overly emotional person. I don't cry a lot. I don't get super excited a lot. I don't, like, I talk with my hands. Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing this whole time. But I don't, like, flail, and I don't scream, and I don't do any of that. And I know that that's, if I did all that, that could potentially make me 10 times better than where I'm at right now. But in the long run, I don't ever want to lie to anybody, and I don't want to be that kind of reactor. I don't want to lie, and I don't want to force reactions out of myself, because obviously you guys are going to know if I'm forcing a reaction. Like, duh. But I think the type of reactor that I want to be is, I want to be myself, but then I also want to be one of those that's like, even more specifically, talk about my opinions of like what the scene, what I think of what's happening in the scene, what I'm pointing out, what I'm doing this or that, and not just being super shocked that I'm seeing a homosexual makeout scene, or someone getting stabbed, or someone, like, a super emotional scene. Like, if you guys, there's been, I think, 3 videos where I've cried. One where it was the most emotional time that I've had in an episode, where it was Julie and the Phantoms was Unsaid Emily. That episode made me super emotional. I've never cried like that. There was another one in Bly Manor where I cried, but it wasn't a lot. It was like a couple of tears. And there was another one. I can't remember what episode it was. It was kind of sort of recent, but not super, super recent. I can't remember. I'll have to look back. But there's only been like 3 videos where I've ever cried. But I don't want to force it. Like, I don't want to be that type of reactor. I'm different. So I just have to learn that it's okay to be different. But I still go through that. Like, I will never be as good as Adam, because Adam is like super emotional, super excellent. Like, Adam was born to do this. And I just love doing this. I want to do this as a like full-time career. Like I want to do this. This is my passion. But I'm just a different type of person than Adam is. So, you know, I'm just kind of in that zone. So, but I just always kind of want to be emotional. I don't ever want to be, or not emotional, but I always want to be honest. But I won't, it's just hard for me as a person to express my emotions. And if you guys can end up seeing the progress of like where I can come from, then you'll know like that's genuine. It's not going to be faked or anything like that. But yeah, anyway, back to Fear Street. Like imagine the priest coming back to 1994 to chase them with the others and try to do what he does to them, trying not to spoiler. I wouldn't want to see it, but even him trying to would be so scary. I know. Well, that whole scene, they're all sitting on the pews, and it makes me think. It makes me, even though in that scene, I'm like, did they not fight? Did they not, there's no defensive wounds. What did he say, or what did he make them do to make it think like, don't fight me? They didn't fight. They're sitting on the pew, or at least from what we can tell, they're just sitting on the pews. So I don't know if he moved them. Like, we didn't see enough detail in order to know what had happened in that scene. I think if we knew what had happened in that scene, that's why I'm saying it would be even more effed up. But the person in my PFP, I don't know what that is, has problems. You heard me. Imagine getting hung for loving someone. I know. Isn't that crazy? I thought of that too. And that's emotional. Like, obviously, if I would have lived in that day and age, I would have been hung for being homosexual. And that's crazy for me to say out loud. It's even weird for me. Is it weird? Like, I don't know if any of you guys are on, like, the, a part of the LGBT community or not, in the aspect of, like, being a part of the community. But, like, it's hard for me to say homosexual. Like, I'm a homosexual. It's so weird. I don't say that. I say, like, I don't know. I say I'm gay and I'm a lesbian. Like, I have complete pride in that. But there's something about saying homosexual, and it's, like, so weird. And I don't know if it's because it's, like, so textbook term or, like, what it is. But anytime I hear homosexual, I'm like, it's so weird. It's so weird. I don't know what it is. Like, I'll even say, I don't like the F word either. I hate the F word. But, like, I've said the F word, like, a couple of times because I'm, like, like, if I'm reading something or if I'm saying something, like, obviously you have to say it some, like, not in, I don't say it to anybody. I'm just saying it out loud, like the F word. I don't even like to say it right now. But I said it the other day, and I'm like, I don't even necessarily have a problem when I say it. Of course, if someone calls me the F word, can't fucking say it. Or if, like, somebody calls another gay person the F word, or even a straight person, how about this? If anyone just says the F word and they mean it in a negative way, can't fucking stand it. But that's not the same for if someone were to try to tell me you're a fucking dyke and I hate you, I'm like, okay, and, like, dyke doesn't, it's not an offensive term for me personally. The F word is. I can't stand the F word. But then homosexual is just always so weird. Homosexual is just weird, but I think it's because it's, like, a scientific, like, term. Homosexual. But I take pride in, like, gay and lesbian and, like, whatever, but I don't know. The F word has, like, a fuck you, dude. Like, you just, I don't know. There's just something about it, but anyway, so I know I'm, like, going off topic here, but anyway. I know it's called reactions, but I really watch them to hear their thoughts and see if they caught the same or different things than I did, so how animated or emotional someone is doesn't really play a factor, at least for me. Now thinking about it, I would say he repositioned them. And oh, okay, so wait, before we get on to your next comment, because I was trying to see if they all flowed into the same thing. So that's why I like started watching reactors. I watched my first reactor that I watched that I really like is Emily Ann / Free Bicycle Tours. I love her stuff because she's emotional. She's like a good like middle. If I were to have to say there was a good middle ground in between like Adam and I don't mean to compare the two of us, but like Emily Ann is a good reminder of like where like in between, because she's a little bit emotional, but yet she's like, she points out things too. So I would watch her. She was the first reactor I ever saw. I can't remember what I was trying to look up. Something, it was a couple of years ago. Something that she reacted to, obviously. But she pointed out some things, and I was like, oh, because I wanted to see if someone else had seen them as I did. So that's what I was really looking for, and she did. But she had like that a little bit of emotion and like stuff like that. So I really like that. But that's what I wanted to be. So I of course feel like I'm primarily an opinionated person and gonna catch like little things here and there. And then if I want to be like, I do have my emotional moments. And if you guys have, like I said, seen any of this stuff where I've been like a little emotional or been like, what the fuck just happened? Like, I do have moments like that, but they're not very like rare where they're like crazy, like every episode or every video I'm doing something crazy. I just don't have that type of energy, and I don't have that type of personality to do that. But yeah, so I love watching the both of them. But anyway, now thinking about it, I would say he repositioned them in the pews, which is even more fucked up. And I still don't get it, because some of those kids are pretty big. Could have fought back, especially Henry. I know. Well, that's what I'm like. I really want to know kind of what happened, because it doesn't make sense. Like, he would have, and I'm telling you, again, without trying to give away spoilers, he had to have repositioned them, because there's no way that they would have willingly went through all of what he had done to them and just sit there perfectly still. There's no way. So he had to have repositioned them. But how he ended up how he just stood there and was like saying his Bible verses had no effect on him, what was going on. And like, I get it, he was like going through his like whole ordeal or whatever, right? But he had like no injuries. So yeah, you would have thought Henry would have fought back. You would have thought that somebody would have fought back. Or like, not just Henry, but the girl who plays, who was the one, she was the second one, the Ziggy, but she played a different character in the third movie, and I can't remember what character she played. But like, she would have fought back for sure. So yeah. Anyway. I probably have to wrap it up here, because I still need to edit this video. And I don't know how much I'm going to get done, if I'm going to try to finish it all tonight, or if I'm going to try to, I might need to finish it all tonight. So, I woke up so early this morning too. So, anyway, hold on. What'd you say? He could have knocked them out with something in their water, but that was not noted. Okay, theory time. Who took the blank at the end? Who took the blank at the end? I don't know. I don't know what you mean by that. Who took the blank at the end? I think so too. I wonder if he did like knock them out with something. He would have had to, because there's some strong characters in there that would have fought back. But we don't know. We don't know what actually happened. So that's why I really want to know what kind of happened in that scene. But at the same time, I'm like, no. Oh, who took the book at the end? I said that too. And I said in the one scene, I'm like, you guys need to take it, burn it, do something with it, because then it's going to happen all over again. It's going to happen all over again. And then, I don't know. It definitely looked, okay, so in my opinion, it definitely looked like females' arms, right? Because you saw, the only thing you see is arms grabbing the book and then pulling it away. So, also, do you guys think that there's going to be other movies after that? Like, do you think they're going to continue on with this? That's another thing. So, obviously, they left a big, what is it, hook or, like, whatever it is at the end. What do they say? The, you know, whatever that saying is. But, I think it's a woman. It's a woman for sure. Because they were woman arms. I don't know. I mean, dude can have a pretty womanly arms. I don't know. Feminine arms? Yeah, that's probably the best way to say that. Cliffhanger? I know. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, cliffhanger. They definitely left a cliffhanger at the end of that movie. That's for sure. I thought it was male arms. I think it did well enough to have more. I know the director wants to. Hopefully they will. Yeah, hopefully they will. I thought when you see it for the first time, when you see it all happen, it looked like, because of how quick and how like fast it moved, it looked almost like females' arms, but I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. But because of how quick it moved, that's why I thought that they were female arms. And because like you see the basically the elbow like up, because they like reach for the book and they like pull the book back. But I could be wrong. I need to go back and look. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. I don't know who the character is. If I were to have to say it was a female, if it was a cliffhanger, if they were to take the book and do something like destroy it, then I could see it being Dina or Sam. I thought it was almost kind of like Sam's arms. Because of kind of how the way that they looked. But if they were going to destroy it, that's who's two I would think would destroy it. If they were to continue on to have it kind of go all over again, I don't know. I don't know who it could be. Unless that family line had more kids. You know that's a possibility, so. Could be the same family line. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end it here for tonight, because I need to go in and edit Motherland Fort Salem from this morning. Hopefully I can finish it. I might have to finish it, because then it would have to upload and get ready to go out tomorrow. So yeah, I'm super tired already. It's like my bedtime, so But if you guys want to chat with me on anything, I think the best place other than here going live is Twitter, because I'm not really actively on anything else. I check Patreon like twice a day. I check it like before I go to bed and then in the morning. So I'm not as super active on there. Twitter is probably the most that I'm active on if you guys ever want to talk to me there. But that's pretty much it. we'll figure out whatever we're going to figure out talking about next week. Because there's going to be a couple of shows that are going to come out between now and next week. So we'll probably have some stuff to talk about. But anyway, I love you guys, and I will see you guys next week.